Om. 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 Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirao Dhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. With the blessings of Bhagavan Shri Krishna and all the Acharyas, let us churn the butter, which is the essence of Gita, through churning Geetarjanam, the buttermilk. It is Bhagavadgita, through focused mind. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Devyai Geetamritaye. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Devyai Geetamritaye. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Devyai Geetamritaye. Namaste. We are entering the section of shlokas which are really, really important. I would say the primary shlokas which we have to imbibe into our life. So probably I might go little longer on this because it is so important to get connected with the shlokas and apply it to our life. Can I request Sharda ji to sing with me?
Yeah.
Sthita स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का भाषा
स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का भाषा
समाधिस्थस्य केशव
समाधिस्तस्य केशव
स्थितधी किं प्रभाषेत
स्थितधी किं प्रभाषेत
किमासीत व्रजेत किम्
किमासीत व्रजेत किम्।
श्रीभगवान् उवाच
श्रीभगवान् उवाच
प्रजहाति यदा कामान्
प्रजहाति यदा कामान्
सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान्
सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान्
आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः
आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः
स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते
स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते
दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्मनाः
दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्नमानाः
सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः
सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः
वीतरागभयक्रोध
वीतरागभयक्रोध
स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते
स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते
यः सर्वत्रानभिस्नेहः
यः सर्वत्र नभिस्नेहः
तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभम्
तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभम्
नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि
नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
यदा संहरते चायम्
यदा संहरते चायम्
कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः
कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः
इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते
निराहारस्य देहिनः
निराहारस्य देहिनः
रसवर्ज्यं रसोऽप्यस्य
रसवर्ज्यं रसोऽप्यस्य
परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते
परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते
यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय
यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय
पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः
पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः
इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि
इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि
हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः
हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य
युक्त आसीत मत्परः
युक्त आसीत मत्परः
वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि
वशे यस्येन्द्रियाणि
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः
सङ्गस्तेषोपजायते
सङ्गस्तेषुपजायते
सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः
सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः
कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते
कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते
So, after listening to Bhagavan Sri Krishna about Sankhya Yoga, where he is giving the knowledge of who Arjuna is, who Bhishma is, who this individual is in reality, in eternity. And then he is also advising Arjuna to get into the karma through karma yoga. As he is listening to what Bhagavan is telling him, Arjuna is slowly opening up his mind. He's expanding his mind to listen, to understand what Sri Krishna is telling. So in this process, many questions pop up in his mind. So the first question he asks, Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava sthitadi kim prabhasheta kimasita prajeta kim. O Keshava, tell me, this sthita prajna, the one who is steady in his wisdom, sthita prajna, his intellect is very steady with the good wisdom. What is his description, bhasha? And he is samadhista as well. He is so deeply absorbed in Bhagavan, Ishvara, and in self. He is totally absorbed and he is steady. Samadhista. His intellect is in that samasthiti. Samadhista. When he is that, how can he be described? What is his description, Bhasha? And Kim Prabhashita, what does he speak? Kimasita, how does he sit? Prajeta Kim, how does he walk? What is his gait? How does he move around? This question he is asking. I remember when I was young, quite young, I used to feel my music teacher, she never eats like us. She never sleeps like us. She never goes to the shops like we go. So all these things used to be so firm in our mind about our teachers. And I used to think they're coming straight from heaven and they're intelligent and they know everything. He's the perfect man. So in the same way, even Arjuna is going through that process of assimilating how the realized person, an enlightened person would be. Will he be like us only? Or is he different? How to realize, recognize a sthita prajna when he's so different in his mind? What is his disposition? How does he think? How does he communicate? These are all the questions which Arjuna is getting in his mind. And because he has the intimacy with Bhagavan Krishna, he's asking directly. So many of us would be thinking about great spiritual masters also in the same way. Will they be like us? Will they be leading life like us? Or do they behave differently? What is it? Ka bhasha samadhista. Keshava, how can we describe them? They are so deeply absorbed in the consciousness of Bhagavan, Ishvara, and the Self. If that is the case, Kim Prabhashita, what do they talk? How do they communicate with all others? Will they use the language like us? Or through their body language, do they communicate? Or do they, through silence, do they communicate? How does they go about? Or will they be mitabhashi, straight to the point, use very little words? Or do they use lots of words to communicate what they are feeling, what they are experiencing? How do they communicate? Mitabhashi or amitabhashi? Or will their words be very harsh or very soft, penetrating the heart? What is it, Krishna? How does he talk? How can we describe this sthita prajna? Do they really sit like us? Himasita. How does he sit? Will he be always in some yogic posture? In dhyana posture? Won't it come to our mind too? When we think of Shiva, what picture do we get? Shiva in his dhyana pose. Nataraja lifting one leg. Durga with Trishola in her hand. So we make it as one stagnant picture in our mind. In the same way, Arjuna is also thinking about enlightened sthita prajna. How does he sit? Is he normal like us? Vrajeta Kim, how does he walk around? We also think Rudra means always he is fearful. So his steps would be dham, dhoom, dham, dhoom. Gauri, Parvati, Mandagamane, very graceful and slow. So these are all the ideas which we would have created in our mind, but we are not very sure. So Arjuna is going through that stage where he has started thinking about the enlightened sthita prajna, samadhista, one who has sthitadi, steady intellect, steady mind, which is absorbed in Bhagavan. That is Krishna. So, when it comes to the Adhyatma Shastra or spiritual science, the way of passing on the information, knowledge, experience is through describing the behavior, characteristics, the conversations of enlightened yogis. We know about it. Shirdi Sai Baba, the minute we think of him, we know Satcharita. What is Satcharita? Satcharita is nothing but description of the experiences of different disciples, people who had direct contact with Baba and different situations and how he reacted. Our autobiography of Yogi. In that also, so much of information is passed on. But in what way? Autobiography. Apprenticeship with Himalayan masters. Even in that we come across. Wandering in Himalayas. They are all very interesting books which tell us, which gives us the experience of those enlightened masters, how they behave, what are all the things they have interacted in their life, what are the situations they have come across. It keeps us interesting. So we get interested in knowing more and more and more about the spiritual aspects by knowing about the enlightened yogis. So Arjuna has done such a wonderful contribution to the humanity by asking this question. Even though the question looks very simple, what is the description of this Sthita Prajna? How does he talk? What are his words? How does he sit? How does he walk around? The questions are simple, but see what are all there behind those questions. For that, Krishna is not giving straightforward answer. This is how they sit. This is how they walk. This is how they talk. He's not giving in one shloka by shloka about that. He's passing on the message. What a Sthita Prajna is first of all. How does he think? What are all the things he goes through in the real life? How he behaves himself. So he's giving the very source of what Sthita Prajna is. So we should be thankful to Arjuna for asking that question. And let us see what Krishna says. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtah sthita prajnastadochyate. O Partha, the Jivatma who is having the body, earthen body, Partha. O Partha, Manogatan, all the desires which come in the mind, Manogatan of the mind. Kaman Sarvan, all desires. Prajahati, one discards, one gives up. Discarding all the desires which arise in the mind, Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha. One gets the joy, tushta, the bliss, the happiness, the joy one gets within, that is Atmani, Atmana, by his own self. Then he is called as Sthita Prajna, one who is well established with good wisdom. So, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan. This mind is known, very well known, for giving rise to desire after desire, desire after desire, desire after desire. Desire only grows. It can be infinitely if we allow the mind to keep on asking for more and more and more. It has that capacity. Whereas this Sthita Prajna, he gives up all desires. Prajahati, he discards because he knows the value of Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha. He knows the value of getting the joy out of his own self within, by his own self. When that is so great, he doesn't care for all other objects to get that bliss or joy. So, what happens when that type of a person who is happy by his own self, not depending on any other objects or people or occasions or situations to get joy, but he is already happy by his own self all the time? For commoners, he looks like a mad person, isn't it? He's not getting along with anyone. He's just by himself so happy. But nothing matters to him. He doesn't need any outside objects, people, for him to become happy. For this, the best example is one of the main disciples of Adi Shankaracharya, who is called Hastamalaka. I will tell you the story of this because it will make us understand how they are. By birth, he is enlightened. And that boy was not finding any joy in communicating with anyone. So he was not communicating. He was like a dumb boy. And he never used to do things normally what a child does. So he used to be always within himself. So his parents were worried. And once when Adi Shankaracharya was passing through that village, these parents went and requested Guru, Adi Shankaracharya, what to do with this boy? He doesn't even talk. He doesn't do anything. He's just there. So Adi Shankaracharya asked him the question, who are you? That boy at once looking at Shankaracharya, his mind vibrated in the same wavelength, and he started bursting out with the answer, who I am, with beautiful verses. Because he gave the real eternal answer to who you are. Adi Shankaracharya accepted him as his disciple and gave him the name Hastamalaka, because he had the knowledge of who I am. He was Sthita Prajna. He was enlightened. So he was given the name Hastamalaka. One who has the spiritual knowledge as though it is a gooseberry in the hand. When I have a gooseberry in my hand, I can as well see everything about that gooseberry. I know. I can see it. I'm feeling it. I'm experiencing it. So he was looking like dumb, mad person. That is in the eyes of ignorant commoners. Whereas by themselves, they are happy. Dakshinamurti is also described as Swatma Bhirama. He is happy and well established in his own self. So that is the description of this. What happens to the commoners? Why we are not Sthita Prajnas? We have to look into it. We are running behind the whole world, which is like Mrigatrishna, Marichike, or Mirage. We are seeking the happiness in the world, which is like mirage. Like the deer, it keeps running after water in the hot summer or in desert place, where the mirage is there everywhere, step in all along the road. So as it keeps running behind it, it gets exhausted without getting the water, because that mirage would move further. Again it runs. Again it would move further. With exhaustion, it dies. In the same way, the commoners give importance to seek happiness in the outside world, thinking that the desire for that, if it is accomplished, I will get that tushti, the happiness. So I run behind the objects of the world, people of the world, to get that joy. We don't realize the joy is within. The joy emerges from within. Joy, the cause of joy, is also nothing but the self. So it is important that we realize, recognize that just like Sthita Prajna is giving first importance to seek tushti within by his own self, not from outside objects. That we don't get it. We don't realize the objects outside are illusory, they are inert. And it is the mind with desire is approaching that. What is mind? Mind is also inert. Objects are inert. Mind is also inert. It is the consciousness which is falling on the mind, is giving rise to the desire, and it is approaching the outer world to get joy. But if we reverse the process, we realize that it is within. The joy, the source of joy is within. So, Atmanyevatmana tushtaha. They are good at it. दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्मनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते. Who is called Sthitadhi Muni? A sage with steady mind is Sthitadhir Muni. Who is called like that? Dukkeshu Anudvigmana. In suffering, in miseries, in adversities. Dukkeshu Anudvigna Manaha. One who has the mind which is not agitated or disturbed by the miseries of life, miseries of the incidents caused by the objects of the outer world, people or the situations in their life. They won't get agitated. Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha. Sukheshu vigataspraha. And in happiness, in pleasures, their mind will not get disturbed, or it won't have any craving for that pleasure. There is no deep desire for that pleasure. In seeking the pleasure, vigata spruhaha. They are not disturbed by that. Vitaraga bhayak krodhaha. Vita means they are totally free from attachment, raga, bhaya, fear, krodha, anger. So they don't have the bondage of attachment, fear, and anger. They are free from it. Those are called Sthitadir Muni, sage with steady mind. So, what can we understand by this? How can we apply it to our life? Let us take dukkha, misery, sorrow, difficulties. All these things, when we keep brooding in the mind about the miseries, which has already happened. When do we call it misery? When we have gone through it. The sorrow comes because of something which has happened. So it is the past, brooding of the past happening, which was miserable, sorrowful. When we keep thinking about or brooding about it, certainly it becomes stronger and stronger. Or apprehension of the miseries in future. That also creates different kind of fear in us, uneasiness in us. It has not happened, but we are thinking about it might happen like this. My goodness, what shall I do? But when we are going through that misery, when it is happening, it just happens. We go through with it. It is the brooding of the past happening and apprehension about the future, which is causing us that more pain. For example, I will tell you one experience. A person who is falling down from the stairs, all the way down, they're falling. While falling, the mind was thinking, when will it end? When will I stop rolling further? What is happening? But it is happening. They have to go through it. They have gone through it. After that, the memory of that falling makes the person to stand on the top of the stairs, thinking of stepping down. Because the memory of falling is creating that fear or brings back the pain. Or to step down, even then, what if I fall down again? So that fear will make the person not to get down confidently. But while going through the process, it just happened. It was not in the hands of the person who was rolling down. It just happened. But see, the brooding of the past is affecting the apprehension of it. What if the same thing happens again? Both are not the present. Dukkha. In the same way, sukha also. Craving for pleasures, sukha. Even then, it is not possible to hold the mind steady. Because craving for the pleasures in the outer objects will make us go again and again after that object. So the mind will not be stable, whether it is in dukkha, whether it is in sukha. In both the situations, if the mind is established in the self or in Ishvara, the way we approach the past, the way we approach the future, the way we approach the present will be so different. So, sthita prajnas are those who are well established in Ishvara, the self, who can take both dukkha and sukha with samasthiti. And they don't have the fear of, they don't have the bondage of, they're free from attachment, fear, and anger. So they are like Muni, sthitadi, with steady intellect, steady mind. So they are always happy. Yah sarvatra nabhisnehah tat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita. One who is yah sarvatra, in all conditions, abhisneha, is not at all attached, is totally unattached at all times. Tat prapya, having whatever comes to their life, comes in their plate. without giving importance for Shubha, Ashubha. That which is good, auspicious, Ashubha, inauspicious or evil. They won't see the difference. They are not disturbed by that. Yes, sarvatran abhisnehan. They are not attached to Shubha and Ashubha because everything is same for them. The whole universe is just the same for them. Just like we have one stomach in which we are accommodating even without thinking both to be digested fresh food which we have taken and already digested food which is a waste. Both are there in the same stomach. Are we brooding about something? Are we craving for something? No. We have taken, I have one stomach. It has both. We have that understanding regarding the stomach. But we don't have the understanding applying when it comes to the different situations in life. Shubha, always we want Shubha. We crave for Shubha. We don't want Ashubha. Because there is Ashubha, we are able to say this is Shubha. So both are part and parcel of the whole universe, which is just one. In that everything has to be there. It will be there. So what's the big deal about attaching to one thing? No. Yes, sarvatran abhisneha tat tat prapya. Whatever is given, they accept it. Shubha, Ashubha. Both. Nabhinandati. And they won't delight or say, wow, I have this. Nabhinandati. They are not highly delighted. Nadveshti, not dejected. Tasya prajna. His intellect, his wisdom is called Sthita prajna because his intellect is well established. Pratisthita. It is stable and well established. So, all these Sthita prajnas, the enlightened ones, their way of perceiving the world, the life, and individuals, the plants, animals, is in a very different, unique, mega way. So their joy is in considering everything as just one, be it good or evil, auspicious or inauspicious, delightful or dejecting one. They don't make difference. So they are well established. If that is the case, we ignorant commoners will think, my goodness, if everything is samasthiti, will there be any joy in life without any colors, without ups and downs? If it is just this, what is the use? Is it really a life? We will be thinking. What is the answer for that? He has already given. They are, the Sthita Prajnas are the ones who are getting the joy all the time. Atmanyevatmana tushtaha. They don't need the outer things. Because we are running after the objects of outer things, there's too much of ups and downs and ups and downs. So we become the victims of this prapancha, dvandva prapancha. We are the victims, we become the victims of the duality. And so we see so much of ups and downs and ups and downs. In that, we are losing that eternal joy which is very much within. So their life is really the happy one because it is sthitadi samadhista. Yada samharate chayam पूर्वोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. यदा संहरते, when one withdraws, samharate cha ayam, all the limbs, kurmonganiva sarvashah, like the tortoise which withdraws from all sides its limbs, like that. Whoever withdraws inside from indriyani, indriyarthebhya, withdrawing the sense organs from the sense objects. We have 5 strong, uncontrollable sense organs which are dragging us towards the outside world all the time. So, one who withdraws all the sense organs from the sense objects which are dragging us outside. Just like the tortoise withdraws when it feels or when it gets the inclination that there is some danger. At once it draws all its limbs and becomes just a shell, hard shell. So like that, one who withdraws, he is prajna pratishtita. His divine wisdom is well established, which is so true. When we are dispersing or expanding, moving out our focused mind towards the objects of the 5 senses, it will always keep increasing. The desire to get things will be increasing. It won't stop at once. So it is like putting the ghee to the fire. The desire is the fire. When we start running behind the objects, it is like putting the ghee. It is increasing the desire to get it at any cost. And it won't stop at one desire when it is accomplished. The minute it is accomplished, we feel like having something else connected with it. Take, for example, the vehicle. We will be walking, then a bicycle, then scooter, then car. In that car, there are different levels of luxurious cars. We go for that. So it will never stop at one. It keeps growing. But it doesn't happen to them. So I would like to tell here the desires which we go after is like itching in the body. When the body itches, when we scratch once, it feels good, but it makes that itching sensation all the more. So we scratch more. Again, it increases. Again, we scratch more, creating the wound. But like in Vipassana, one of the Buddhist way of controlling the senses, what they do, if anything is itching, you have to just observe without itching, without reacting to that itch. So when we start observing that itch, gradually within a minute, that itching subsides. In the same way, these sthita prajnas, they also see, like us, they will also appreciate when something is good. For the question what Arjuna asked, do they sit like us? Do they walk like us? How do they do? They do like us only. They do see, they do eat, they do appreciate, but they keep their mind as witness and they won't get attached to it, crave for it, and go after it. No. So they know that skill, they have that skill. So they are saved. How do they do that? By constantly keeping the self as the focal point of every breath. So they are able to transmit that self, the experience of that self, towards every action of their five senses. Sthita prajna, sthita dhi, whose mind is stable and firm. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina. Dehinaha means the aspirants, the seekers, the devotees who are all looking forward to proceed, to get that Brahmananda. Isn't it? Nothing but Brahmananda. Bliss is very much that Brahman. So we being the part of it, we are always craving for that Brahmananda. So in the name of seeking the Brahmananda, we are sending our mind towards every way, outward, towards the objects and situations, people, everything. What do the Sthita Prajnas do? Vishayamini vartante, those aspirants, dehinaha, those aspirants, seekers, devotees, because we want that. They are restraining, they are controlling the mind, they are giving up the attachment towards Vishaya. Vishaya means the sense objects. They might be giving up running behind the objects of the senses. However, rasavarjam rasopyasya, the taste for that object of that desire will be still there. Once param drishtva, param here, when they once experience that Brahman, Parabrahman, param drishtva, the rasopyasya, even the taste will also nivartate, it ceases, it goes away. So what does it mean? Just because the aspirants, seekers are keeping up, controlling their mind towards the desire for objects, and they are restraining from getting attached to the objects. But even then, even though they have given up the objects, the taste for it, the desire for it will be there inside. For example, when the children are deeply involved in playing games, or when they are reading some storybook with pictures in it, even if we keep the toys which they love or the dishes which they love to eat, it will never go into their mind. They are not attracted to it because they are so involved in what they are doing. A rogi, a disease, person who is going through the disease, he might like so many things to eat, but because of that numbness in the tongue, he might not feel like eating it then and there. But once he's out of the disease, the memory of the taste of what that sweet is or the dish is, he feels like having it. So his giving up the attachment to the Vishaya, the object, was very temporary. Once he became okay, he wants it again because the taste is very much there. Rasa is there. Even the children, once they are done with reading the storybook, Mama, you had given me that thing to eat. Where did you keep it back? I want to eat now. Where's the toy? Where did you keep it? I want to play with it. So it was temporary. Vrata. When we do the vrata, we would have given up eating so many things purposely for months. But once that vrata is done, the very next day we want to have it. That means it was temporary. So it happens to all dehinaha, to all aspirants, seekers. So that rasa will be there, the taste for it will be there still. However, once param drishtva, once we have the taste of that Brahmananda, automatically that vasana kind of taste which was there lingering will also go away. So that Brahmananda has that capacity in it. And these Sthita Prajnas are experiencing that Brahmananda, Param Drishtva. They have done it. They have experienced it. They have seen what that Brahmananda is. So they are not. All these things drop away on its own. So what we can understand by this is desire, the seed of desire is there in everyone, because what is that seed? It is the intrinsic nature of the soul to have the divine bliss, Brahmananda, that is there in every being. But we don't know, like Sthita Prajnas, how to achieve that, how to get it. So Krishna is here explaining what all they do. Follow them. Do exactly like them. So Bhagavad Gita is not telling to suppress the desire, to give up the desire. It is telling to sublime, to take it, transcend the desires. That way, it will automatically fall off on its own. So it is a very, very positive way of making ourselves strong to seek the bliss within by own self. यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः. यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय, O Kaunteya, in spite of following all these things, yatato hyapi, while practicing, even though they have the self-control, even for that person, even for that aspirant, purushasya vipaschitaha, one who is endowed with discrimination of what is self, what is not self, one who has that good knowledge, vipaschitaha, even for him, indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. Even for him who has been having this strong discriminatory wisdom in him, who is having the self-control over the mind, even for him, these sense organs turbulently, pramathini, turbulently, haranti, carries away, prasabham, at once, so quickly, forcibly, the mind, mana. So see how strong a mind can be, how weak it can be, how fickle it can be. In spite of having the discriminatory power to know what is the eternal reality, what is illusion, what are these indriyas. Even though they have the experience and the knowledge, mind is such a thing that the indriyas are very strong, turbulently, they carry away the mind forcibly. Prasabham mana. So, to say it is not easy. For example, I will give you a very practical example. One would have already had good dinner, full stomach. So they want to come down and have water and go back to sleep. When they come down, if by chance, if he sees someone eating something, they also put their hand into it and start eating. So within few steps, his mind was telling, I am full, I can't eat anything more, let me drink water. He comes down. It's gone within a minute. He's eating something else. And then, ayo, I had so much of dinner and I'm eating it. It's all because of you. Or when the anger comes, we would be fully self-controlled till then. The minute something happens, it never stops. The anger just bursts out. So, Indriya, all the five senses, they are very, very strong. Turbulently, they are able to carry away the mind towards the objects in no time. So, here I would like to tell you another story which is there in Bhagavatam. It's about Saubhari. In fact, he is a realized person, Siddha Purusha, and he has written so many sutras. Saubhari sutras are there. Saubhari Samhita is there. So he's of that stature. And he also knew how to meditate underwater. So when he was doing it underwater, he saw the mating of two fish, male and female. That disturbed his mind and he wanted to get the same joy as those fish. So he came up at once from the water and he saw the king Mandata of Ayodhya. And he approached him because he had 50 daughters. So this old man, old sage, went and asked, I want to marry one of your daughters. And Mandata, king, knew who this sage is, very, very strong, very powerful. He didn't want to say no at once. And also he was baffled. Such an old man, why he wants to marry my daughters who are still young? But I cannot say no to him because he might curse. So he thought and told him, please come and sit. I will call my all 50 daughters. Anyone who chooses you will be your wife. I will give them to you. And in the mind, king was thinking, I am sure all my 50 daughters will not agree with this old man. They will not accept. So I can be rest assured. So I am out of danger. Saubhari knew the mind of that king. And he said, okay, I'm really happy that you are offering this chance. I will come back tomorrow. And he again went back and did the yogic sadhana and he became young and charming. And next day when he came and sat, all the 50 daughters chose him as their husband. So there was no way king could escape. So he gave them in marriage. Thinking that, my goodness, one husband for all the 50? Will there be too much of fight between the sisters? What to do with this? That also this yogi understood what is happening in the mind. So he made himself as 50 Saubhari and 50 different houses and he lived with them for thousands of years and he gave birth to so many children through 50 ovaries. After such long period of enjoyment, he realized, what am I doing? And then he came up with the saying, oh humans, look at the way I have fallen down, running behind the desire of the sense organ. Because I saw the fish mating, my mind ran behind it in no time. And see what all I have done to my own sadhana. I have gone down the spiral. Don't repeat the same mistake as I am doing. So, this itself should tell us how we are as human beings walking on the sharp edge of a sword. One has to balance properly so that we will not fall down. So that is the reason he is telling, Yatato hyapi kaunteya. Yes, they might be doing all these things, controlling the self, controlling the mind, having the wisdom, everything. But Indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manah. But Indriyas, the five panchendriya, jnanendriyas are so strong in their pull that it is very easy for the mind to vacillate. So one has to be very careful. So easy to slip down. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparah vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratisthita. Tani sarvani samyamya. Those who are sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparah. Those who have brought all the senses together and they have established all the five senses and the mind. Matparaha, in me. Vashehi yasendriyani, and they have also controlled the indriyas really well. Tasya prajna pratisthita. His mind is perfect knowledge. He is the one who is established in the eternal reality. So, these are the persons who are operating, even though they are in this body, they are operating, living in totally a different zone, different realm, which is Parabrahma. Here, Tani Sarvani Samyamya, subduing all the five senses, controlling them. Yasyendriyani Vashehi, they have kept all the five senses in their vasha, under their control. Those who have put all the five senses and the mind, matparaha. Here, matparaha means Bhagavan Krishna is telling, in me. So I would like to explain a little more about that matparaha. Why Krishna is telling one who subdues the indriyas and one who has controlled the five senses and put that mind in me, one who has me in their mind, in their heart, in their intellect, that person has the perfect eternal knowledge. So here mat paraha, what can we understand? All the five senses, when the mind is totally engaged willfully with lots of love in Krishna, that is Ishvara, naturally like Ambarisha, who used to, whatever he sees, he would perceive it as Krishna, Krishna Prasada. Whatever he sees the smell, that is the Prasada, fragrance. Whatever he eats, that is the Prasada from Krishna. Whatever he hears is also the mantra, the Prasada of Krishna. So that Krishna consciousness had entered all the five senses. So all the five senses were saying nothing but Krishna, 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 Krishna. He was living, enjoying, but he had transcended it as prasada of Krishna. So like that Ambarisha, when a person keeps the mind totally onto Krishna, mat paraha, that's what he's saying. Mat means on me, upon me, devotion upon me. So who is that Krishna? Is it the Krishna, what we see him in the photo with the peacock feather as an individual with body? How is he telling who that Krishna is? In what sense he is telling mat paraha, upon me, one who has that kind of surrender or love, devotion upon me. Me. Who is that me? We have to understand, and from this verse onwards, whenever we are reading Krishna Bhagavan telling upon me, by me, in me, through me, we have to take it as Ishvara who is speaking. To understand that, I will now explain this. This symbol came to me, it was revealed to me during my meditation, which is like encyclopedia of the philosophy, Sanatana Dharma. So I pay respect, a lot of reverence to this symbol. This is the individual, Jivatma. And this is Ishvara, the whole Vishwa, the whole universe, manifested universe. And this is the ever expansive Parama Atma, Nirakara Nirguna Atma. So, this is Nirakara Nirguna Atma, which is ever expansive, the biggest circle. In that Parama Atma is this Ishvara, who is Saguna Brahman, enveloping the whole universe and penetrating every inch, every atom, every cell of the whole universe. In that universe is this individual. So, as an individual, one can be seeing Ishvara. So, I am showing my reverence to this Ishvara. So, it can be in the form of idol because it is Saguna. It can be in the form of idol. When I know, after showing the devotion to that idol or to the form as Krishna, the devotion makes one realize, experience him in another way. How? Because that Ishvara has enveloped me, who is part of the whole universe. Ishvara who has penetrated me as an individual. So he is very much within me. Because he has penetrated me and he has enveloped me as well. That Ishvara. And thus he is very much my own Atma. And as I am that Atma, he is, that devotee becomes the whole universe. He expands because he feels so one with Krishna, one with that Saguna Brahman, and he has within Atma. Once the mind expands as this whole universe, naturally, it is possible only when I take it as Atma, Ishvara. And further, there is no difference, and it is just one Nirakara Nirguna Atma. And I totally annihilate in this Parama Atma. So what happens here for the Sthita Prajna, Ishvara, perfect living masters? There is one common point where all the three circles, the individual, Ishvara, and Nirakara Nirguna Parabrahman, they all meet in one point. That one point is this Atma. When this Atma, when one is situated in this point, he has the access to get into this individual circle, or he can get into this Vishwa circle, the circle of Ishvara, or he can also get into the ever expansive Paramatma, Nirakara Nirguna Parabrahman circle as well. So, Krishna in Bhagavadgita, he is talking from this point of view. He is established here, and then he is saying Mat Paraha, Mat Paraha, Mat Paraha. So when he is in this, he has that free access to be that individual Krishna with peacock feather, with that body, everything. And he is also having as Ishvara. That is how he is talking to Arjuna. And of course, he is Nirakara Nirguna Parabrahman as well. So, Matparaha, when we say Matparaha here, we are taking Krishna through Murti Puja. We are conversing with him. Arjuna is literally seeing, looking at Krishna as his charioteer. That is, as the very smallest circle, Arjuna is talking to Krishna, who is Ishvara, the second circle. We can take it like that. Or we are the seekers. We can bring that Krishna into our own self as my own Atma. And we can listen to him, whatever he's telling in Bhagavad Gita from now onwards. Matparaha. That Matparaha, we have to establish him within as our own Atma. It is possible. So, the question is Krishna talking as an individual should not come. Krishna as Ishvara is the one who is talking, advising Arjuna, because he is in that stature. He is in that mindset as Ishvara, not as an individual. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta. Yukta means bringing together all five senses together with mind. Asita. Asita means being seated. That means being established. All the five senses and the mind being established, seated in Matparaha, in me, O Arjuna. Vashehi Yasendriyani, and one who has controlled all the five senses. Tasya Prajna Pratishtita. His Prajna, his intellect is really well established and constant. So, the next one I will take in the next class. Yeah, it's long. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Devyai Geetarjanam.